This is my inaugural video. Weird. So I guess the best way to start off a new YouTube channel would be like pretty much how you introduce yourself in any sort of situation. By properly and formally telling you guys who I am. My name is Kelly, and my URL is Mind Map in Words, and I reside in the good old United States of America. America. Classic joke right there, I couldn't help it, I'm sorry. Most of what you'll see on this channel, especially at first while it's kickstarting, and assuming I don't get discouraged after a month of having 0 subscribers, will have to do with writerly things, especially vlogs about writing. Let that one sink in for a moment. You good? Good. In total, I'm an aspiring author that is currently awaiting word on 4 poems I've submitted to 2 different literary magazines. It may or may not be any good in their eyes, but I guess now that I've passed them on to them that the judgment's no longer in my hands, and it's been put into their palms. So we'll see. I'm also currently working on a novel that I have a title for, but I'm going to refrain from vocalizing because, quite frankly, I don't know this community yet. And, well, I don't have a real following. So what's the point of even saying anything about it yet? If and when I do garner some subscribers, then perhaps I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it, especially the name. Or you'll have to wait until it gets published to know the name, because that would be a really good time for people to know what it's called. The genre of this novel is sort of a psychological fantasy, and that's the best way I can describe it. So if you're into the sort of mental aspect of things and a little bit of ethereal, then you might like it. I also potentially want to pursue sports writing as a side career. So if you see me vlogging about baseball as well as my vlogging about writing, then you know why. I also might vlog about random shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. But as for right now, the first topic I'm going to pursue involves the nerve-wracking wait I've had to go through in terms of my poem. As I've mentioned before, I've sent my poems to 2 different magazines. One of them is called the Atlas Review, and it kind of runs a little strange. They call it sort of an anonymous magazine where you submit it and they don't know who you are. As for when it gets published, I'm not sure if they publish your name or not, or if that's just something that's restricted to the judging part of it. And it's not paid as well, but it's one of those things where any publicity is good, you know? The second one is the Sun magazine, which is not only paid, but is actually very prestigious in the world of writing. I will link both of those sites down in the basement if you're curious. The basement. Though admittedly, calling it the basement kind of makes me think that you guys are gonna have the impression that I hide things in basements. Like, alive, animate objects. Just kidding. I don't have a basement. Or do I? Anyhow, I sent it the first one of the Atlas Review about a month ago, and I swear ever since, I've been sitting in front of my computer drooling like a hound, waiting for them to say something. They even said on their website that it might take up to 90 days for any sort of result to come out of it. But I'm really impatient. Patience is not one of my top 10 virtues, and probably isn't even one of my top 20. So therefore, I expected something probably within a week, or even the next day. It's kind of like when you crouch on your doorstep waiting for a package that you just ordered 10 minutes ago, half expecting it to arrive and knowing in the back of your head that it's not going to. As a writer too, it seems like it's almost my mental obligation to think that my work isn't good enough, and therefore I've suffered many nervous breakdowns pertaining to the quality of my poems. In the back of my head, I know I can write, but in the forefront, there's always that part of me that thinks that it's not good enough to be published. But I sent the poems regardless, and quite honestly, it was a huge leap of faith. And from this small level experience that I have, I can seriously advise you guys this. Even if you go through that wishy-washy phase of not being sure if it's brilliant or submittable, I would say if you've been pondering it long enough that you should just go for it. You never know what magic you've conjured in the eyes of other people. If any of them do happen to accept any of my poems, then I will probably do a backflip down my balcony and roll onto the road and get hit by a car. Then I wouldn't have to worry about any of those insecurities about whether my poems were publishable or about my YouTube career. But seriously, take the plunge and don't be afraid to be rejected once, twice, or thrice. I may end up being rejected this time, but in reality, since I've done it once, it's kind of a mental encouragement that I should continue because I tried it once, why not try again? I took the first step and therefore the hike can only improve from here. Even if these rejections start raining down on me. In that case, I'm gonna arm myself with my umbrella and hope that these things don't hammer me too much. And I think that's something that, in all aspects of our lives, not even just with writing, that we can all benefit from. If you like this video, please hit subscribe and also lend me a thumb. In addition, if you could leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions or feedback, that would be great.